we're diving into it. We're diving into the discourse, the dredge of stuff that is coming out now about All In. Are people disappointed? Are you enjoying it? Are you loving the build, hating the build? Are you excited for the show? It's mental, and we're going to talk about all that right now. Let's go. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about AEW All In London. Is it disappointing with the matches now being released? Probably the full match card, probably, has been announced aside from one match made official. Punk versus Joe. We all know it's going to happen. Is this a disappointing card if you are a British wrestling fan who's attending All In? Before we dive into that, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below on if you think the show is disappointing as we dive into the fact that, simply put, no, it's not disappointing. Goodbye. So I can't just end on that. I mean, it'd be tempting to end on that, but it's not a disappointing card. I think we can look at everything, every single match, and there is some wealth to it. There is a reason for it to be there. Now, are they the matches that you yourself wanted? Maybe not. Maybe you wanted Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay 3. I wanted Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay 3. But you've got to look at the stories that are being told. I think you can't look at All In Wembley and think this is disappointing when you've got arguably the hottest feud in all of professional wrestling, or the hottest storyline, should I say, of Adam Cole MJF main eventing. You literally can't say that this is a glorified house show if one of the biggest matches of the year, one of the biggest angles of the year could play out at the top of that card. You've got the third match in a trilogy for FTR versus the Bucks. I think that is going to be absolutely killer. You've got Stadium Stampede, the third Stadium Stampede that they've done in 4 years. I think that's going to be incredibly exciting. And there's just a lot of stuff on this card that you should be excited for. I don't think you should be nitpicking that you wanted to see a load of singles matches. I think the multi-match format actually works quite well. The multi-man format, should I say. But we'll talk about the elephant in the room. The one main complaint I've heard about this show, or this card in general, is surrounding Kenny Omega not having a singles match. And I think you have to look at the fact that there was a singles match planned for Kenny, and that was Danielson. Danielson is injured, and therefore we're going into this other feud of the Elite, the Golden Elite, taking on Bullet Club and the Takeshita Callis collaboration. I think that is good. I think that is fine. While it's not the most blow-away Omega match, I think it makes sense for where he is as a character, where he is storyline-wise, and I don't think necessarily having him versus Takeshita would be as big for this show as having him team with Kota Ibushi and Hangman Page going against Bullet Club, his former faction. Like, that's actually quite interesting. I get you're not going to have the best bout machine single matches. You're not going to have Kenny versus Okada. You're not going to have Kenny versus Ospreay. But he fits in there. I think that's a clever use of Kenny, to be honest, because I think you'll get the big singles match with Takeshita coming from this at All Out. That is something, one critique about the show that I think is valid. Why are you having it so close to All Out? That seems a bit detrimental. Maybe they couldn't get a date for Wembley Stadium other than that one. But I think that works. I think Kenny being in this tag match works nicely. I think Joe versus Punk has been really well built on Collision, and I'm very excited for that. Hopefully they'll add a stip to it. The Blackpool Combat Club Stadium Stampede, I think, has been really well built as well. I think they've actually been quite good in building a lot of these matches. The only outliers for that are, I think, the Chris Jericho Will Ospreay match is terribly misjudged in casting Will Ospreay as the heel, because let me tell you something. Will Ospreay is not going to get booed at Wembley Stadium. Whatever he does, he will not get booed at Wembley Stadium. Not going to happen. So having him play the heel to Chris Jericho I don't think it's going to work. I really don't think it's going to work. You might get a both these guys chant, but I really don't think you're going to get Ospreay being a heel here. It's just not going to happen, and I don't know why they've booked it like that. The other one is the women's 4-way, but again, you were probably supposed to have Jamie Hayter in there. Let's be honest, it was probably supposed to be Jamie Hayter versus Saraya. Big crowning moment as Jamie either reclaimed the belt or defended the belt, and those plans were scuppered by injury. Now, I've said my piece there on how I don't think it's disappointing. The weird build for FTR versus the Bucks, like there should be more. There should be a lot more for that match. But then again, you look at the build to their previous matches, they weren't good either. So I didn't really get my hopes up for a monumental build for this one. Because the first one, let us not forget, was won by spinning a tombola, and they sort of looked into the match that way. And I can't remember the build for the second one. So I was never really disappointed in the build for that one. I think it's just been to be honest. And I think there have been way worse builds to AEW pay-per-views. AEW were great at building to pay-per-views. I think they've lost it somewhere along the way. Like, the build to Forbidden Door was dog arse, but Forbidden Door slapped. So I think we're in good hands, to be honest. I think we're in safe hands, Tony Khan's safe hands, and maybe I sound like a shill. Maybe I do. But I just think people exploding, saying they're not getting a Kenny Omega singles match, sound a little bit silly. That's all I'm saying. Because there's so many other people on the card. Because if you had a lot of singles matches, people would be complaining, well, why isn't Jon Moxley on the show? Why isn't Claudio on the show? Why isn't Orange Cassidy on the show? Why isn't Jericho on the show? Did you just get these inundated with hatred? And I think that's just the sort of the fandom in general. I don't think, would you really want this to be a load of singles matches? I don't think so. I think you've got enough variety in there. You've got 3 singles matches probably. You've got Cole MJF, you've got Jericho Ospreay, and you've probably got Punk versus Joe, probably with a stip added. I'd like to see maybe a dog collar match between those two. I think that could be really fun. So you've got 3 singles matches there. You've got an insane coffin match, which is going to be crazy. You've got a Stadium Stampede, which is going to be awesome. You've got a 4-way thrown in there. There's actually a lot of variety, to be honest. And I think it's just makes sense. I think it's a nice, well-formed card with a lot of match variety. And maybe the stories aren't the best, going into what will be the biggest wrestling show of all time. But I will lapse that. I will lapse that part of my brain for a second, because I am enjoying the majority of stories that they're telling. While they're not up to God tier, I think they're quite fun. I think they're good, and they will probably play out well at the show. So to answer the question, is All In a disappointing card? Is All In disappointing? No, not even close. Have you seen the SummerSlam 1992 card? This is leaps and bounds above that. I think this card is leaps and bounds above when Clash at the Castle was announced, when Money in the Bank was announced. I think this card is an incredible show for UK wrestling fans, and you're going to get so much out of it. So much out of it. I think it's going to be a fantastic show from top to bottom, and I cannot wait. I honestly cannot wait. I'm counting down the days right now. Counting down the days. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think this is disappointing? Are you underwhelmed by the All-In card? Let me know everything you want down in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.